Hi everyone, I'm Elmira, an evolutionary biologist at the University of Vienna, and today I'm going to present to you the results of one of our recent publications addressing one of the long-lasting archaeological questions: did Romans brought mules with them to north of the Alps? Before we delve into this question, I would like to mention that horse-human relationship actually dates back years before the Roman period. In the Upper Paleolithic, horses they were the most represented animals in the art records in the form of a sculpture or paintings. However, this relationship stayed in the form of art and hunting for a very long time until around 4,000 years ago. People in Western Eurasia steppes, they had this idea to domestic horses. And with that, they significantly changes the agriculture as well as human mobility. Then from the Bronze Age onward, the role of horses in human history got even much more significant in terms of basically changing the power dynamic between the human societies in the past. They gave us the different capacity to make war in a much more efficient way, starting in the Bronze Age in the form of chariotry and later in the mounted cavalry. Having this tight human-horse relationship for thousands of years, we were thinking about using ancient DNA as a tool to address one of the big humanity questions: how the equines became a political or economical instrument in the past society, giving one civilization more power over the others. One example of such case study is the Roman Empire invasion north of the Alps around 15 BCE, which led to a massive shift in the political, economical, as well as everyday life of people in this region. Basically, based on the archaeological records, pre-Roman Iron Age, people in Celtic settlement exclusively bred horses, and this animal was regarded as an animal for the elites, and they were using them for military purposes. However, there were some cases of some donkeys around the same time in France as well. Moving to the Roman Iron Age north of the Alps, archaeologists for the first time, they found an equine type that was not around before, and that is the hybrid mule. This is when in the Mediterranean region, years before to this time, Romans, they were already breeding and using the mules as the work and pack animals, and they were valuing them for their strength and stamina. There are plenty of historic and pictorial evidences showing the economic and military importance of mule in historic times. However, until recently, we didn't really know their true contribution to the human history, especially in the Roman time, and that is because of the absence of the robust identification method when it comes to the equines. For that, I will mention a few of them. For example, the rarity of the complete skeleton, fragmentary nature of the archaeological remains, or morphological similarities of the hybrid bones to either of parental species, horses or donkeys, and also our limited knowledge of the hybrid morphological space in general. Before we can address our question that how Romans they really benefit from mules and how mules they were actually had a positive contribution to this expansion, we decided to basically extensively sample any equine specimen in various archaeological sites with the military context in the northern provinces of the Roman Empire, that here is shown currently Germany and Austria, as well as some site in the Celtic site prior to the Roman invasion in the same site. We collected over 400 individuals. We prepared them in the ancient DNA laboratory in the LMU University, and from the powder of each specimen, we extracted the DNA and we sequenced the whole genome in a long coverage. Following that, my PhD student Bilal basically used the golden standard Zunki pipeline for the equine identification and pass all the sample through this pipeline. With that, we got information about the sex of the animals, about the taxonomic identification of all these animals, as well as phylogenetic positions of each of them. Here, I basically plot them, all of them on the maps that I showed you previously. And what we have seen basically with the ancient DNA shown here in brown color, indeed in the late Iron Age, Celtic people 100% use only horses. However, in the Roman time, 1 out of 6 equid is mule. And that actually, this large proportion confirmed the value of these hybrid animals beside the horses at that time. Similar study at the same time was performed in the other part of the Europe that also Romans invaded there, such as Switzerland or France. All this study together, they show that prior to the basically Roman invasion to this region, we only see horses. But when Romans, they come, what we see is basically a large number of mules. They are appearing in the funnel assemblages. And after that, by the Roman Empire collapse, the mules get disappear as well, and they are replacing by the donkeys. So with this result of our study, we can actually address our first question that Romans actually indeed introduced mules north of the Alps with the genetic data. And when we kind of merge all the data from the other ancient DNA studies, it's fair to basically assume that Romans they developed mule to help them to manage the logistic of this massive empire that was mainly based on trades for long distance, as well as transportation of goods, army tools, and food to the soldiers 1,000 kilometers away. But if it comes to the species identification, not every single sample can go through the expensive and destructive ancient DNA process, nor should do. Therefore, we were just thinking about how can we use our ancient DNA data and support our archaeologist colleagues and further our collaboration with them to optimize the equine species identification using the traditional methods such as the standard morphology and geometric morphometric. Having our ancient DNA results in our hand and consider them as a true identification, we tested the accuracy of the standard morphology as well as geometric morphometric on the horses, hybrids, and donkeys separately. Putting our data together in summary, we show that the standard morphology and geometric morphometric results, they have more than 85% overall matching results with ancient DNA when it comes to the horses. So horses are not that much problematic, but when it comes to hybrids, we realize that this matching between the traditional method and the molecular method drops down to lower than 50%. Then we focus further on different skeletal elements such as humerus, metapodial, moral, premolar, and tibia, and we again tested our methods, not all of them. What we have found is that basically the method GMM, if applies to premolars, is the most accurate method for equine species identification and give us more than 85% accuracy. So as our take-home message number 2, we would like to basically support our archaeologists in species identification of equids, and we just basically recommend, if it's possible, to use the GMM method, and if the premolar elements are available, that gives them the highest accuracy compared to the ancient DNA results. And with that, I would like to acknowledge the work that has been done by Bilal, Azadeh, and Mishaela, as well as support of my collaborators, University of Vienna, Department of Evolutionary Anthropology, my funding, and HEAS community.